The Power Hour with John Lee.
So, who's Jeffrey Epstein? For anybody who's been in a cave or under a rock for the last 6 months, who's Jeffrey Epstein?
How can I explain this guy? He's a man with a lot of troubles right now.
Not really, he's dead.
Yeah, okay, he was. He was with a lot of problems. Yeah, not anymore.
No.
You're right. You're right. He's dead because he suicide. Right?
Oh, well, you see, you've opened a can of worms there. Do you know that expression, a can of worms?
No, what does it mean?
You know what worms are, don't you?
Worms like, no, I don't
No,
know.
worms live in the ground and do that.
Okay, worms, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Lombrices in Spanish.
Gusanos, huh?
Gusanos, yeah,
Gusanos.
sure.
So, the worms, a can of worms. If you've got a can
Yeah,
and you open it
yeah,
and it's got, like, beans,
yeah,
no problem.
yeah,
The beans just, stay there. There's the beans.
yeah,
But if the worms and they all come out like that,
yeah.
you've got a problem. You try getting the worms back in the can.
Sure, sure.
Right?
That's the expression.
That's
right?
the expression, a can of
it's a
worms.
good one.
Because
Yeah.
the official story is that after a long, protracted saga, they finally got this guy in a high security, maximum security prison, the most high-profile prisoner in America, probably in the world. And they had him on suicide watch. Then they decided to take him off suicide watch, which is totally against protocol. He had a cellmate who was a monster of a man. And they took him out of his cell, so Jeffrey Epstein was left alone. It was a suicide-proof cell. That means you can't commit suicide there. It's deliberately designed that way. The ceilings are too high. And everything that you've got is made of paper, so it's not strong enough to hang yourself.
Yeah.
It'll break,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, they took the cellmate out. The two guards that were watching the most high-profile prisoner in the world both fell asleep at the same time, and the three cameras that were centered on his cell stopped working at the same time. Jeffrey Epstein, from inside his cell, somehow knew that all the cameras weren't working, I suppose, and knew that both guards had fallen asleep at the same time, right? And he chose that moment to do what is literally impossible, which is to hang himself from a very high ceiling using paper. Right? And this is the official story, and this is what they tell you, and you're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
And even on television, the people who are trying to tell you the story, they're kind of shaking their heads and going, "Really?"
Yeah. Doesn't sound
No,
very
really.
realistic. Yeah.
So, what's he famous for?
In the last period,
Yeah, well-
I heard that he has like some strange parties with women and kids,
Young girls,
kids,
yeah.
young girls. Yeah, I heard this, and that's why he went down very fast from being someone very rich to being someone very, like with a lot of problems.
Very dead.
Yeah, very dead after all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how you look at it. It's how he went up, and it's also how he went down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, in the end, he either killed himself in what seems to be an impossible way, or something else happened.
Yeah. I guess you are suggesting that something else happened.
I am suggesting that, yeah, quite strongly, because as I indicated, it appears to be impossible. It's designed to be impossible, and the cameras and the guards. I mean, what does that sound like to you? Does that sound like a good explanation?
No, for sure, it's full of holes, or I don't know how to say.
That's exactly the expression. It's full of holes.
Yeah, full of holes. So, yeah, doesn't sound a story with a lot of credibility. So, who could do that, and why? That's are my questions.
Those are good questions. Well, who? I can't really answer that. Somebody with power, somebody with influence, somebody who can make things like that happen. A group of people, perhaps. But that's when you start to talk about, and you have to understand who Jeffrey Epstein is, and what Jeffrey Epstein is. And I say is, not was, because although he himself, the man, is dead, what he represents is not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I'll give you a quick rundown on Jeffrey Epstein. quick bio.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we say bio.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Jeffrey Epstein was a very intelligent child. Okay, he was a nerd, super nerd.
Okay.
Right, leaves school, goes to university, studying mathematics, but he leaves without a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's got no degree. Next thing you know, next news, as we say, next news, he's teaching at a university, even though he's got no degree. He's teaching mathematics and physics at a university, even though he himself left university without a degree.
Yeah, kind of a Steve Jobs, maybe. No, he did something like this.
Well, maybe there are some similarities to the Steve Jobs story, yeah.
I mean, in this point, I don't know anything else, But someone clever without the degree, but became kind of important or something.
Yeah. I mean, there are plenty of people in the world who became important that didn't have degrees.
Sure.
It's the point that strikes me as strange is not that he was successful in life even though he didn't have a degree. Yeah. It's that he was actually teaching at a university when he himself...
Yeah, this is something very weird because, I suppose, at least in Spain, by the law, you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was an international thing, that a university professor would need to have a degree from university or be a university graduate.
Sure, obviously.
Or at least it seems unusual to me. And that he was teaching physics.
Yeah, which is also something very developed, right?
Yeah, it's not mathematics. It's something very specific field of science that he was teaching. So anyway, after 2 years, they fired him. Mm-hmm. Poor performance. Makes contacts there, gets a job on Wall Street, and he's working on Wall Street, as a golfer.
What is this?
This is a great word. A golfer.
Golfer?
Golfer. Do you know what a golfer is?
No, I don't know.
It's kind of slang, but it's become official language. Go for this, go for that.
I think I've been one.
yeah, we've all been a golfer at some point, my friend. You have to be. So he was a golfer. Then he gets promoted. He becomes an advisor to billionaires.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Okay, well.
Telling them how to move their money and hide their money in different ways so they don't have to pay tax.
Yeah.
That kind of guy.
Yeah,
right?
well.
And then he gets fired again for fraud. Right?
What an ACV.
So he's doing well at this point, no?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
The Power Hour with John Lee.